Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2 of Variety Talk live from Las Vegas, and this is a more serious segment, Actually, the other one was pretty serious as well, and again, we want to give a quick shout out and thank you to Lady Mia Turner, daughter of Ike and Tina Turner, for joining us on such a very important topic. And Mia, we will look forward to you joining us right here live in the studio in a few weeks. Get well with your foot, and thanks again for your story. So as we move forward, everyone, we've got with us the financial gurus. I always have a good time on this subject because I don't know if that's called a left lobe brain or a right lobe brain or whatever it is, but I'm not like really a big numbers girl, but money is important to everybody, right? Finances are important to everyone. So it's a very important subject, and it is serious because you can make one decision and go down the wrong road, and that's why you guys are here. So without further ado, why don't you first again introduce to us who is joining us today.
Okay. I've been on the program several times, and today I have an associate of mine who I have on retainer. I've known this guy for 30 years. We started in the business together, and it was interesting the way we first met. We were in a discussion about some certain statistics and numbers, and someone asked something, and this guy beat me to the answer. He's quicker with math than me. And after the second time it happened, I looked at him, I said, not very many people are quicker than me at math. I've got my MBA from Boston University. I think I'm pretty smart. This guy invariably had the answer half the time I did. I looked at him and I said, what are you, a rocket scientist? And he said,
yes, I am.
He's a rocket scientist. So it made me feel a little bit better about it. But John's been a good friend of mine for over 30 years, and we went different directions. I am in the financial advisory business. John is the guy that people go to in my business to get advice. He works with attorneys, and CPAs, and financial advisors, stockbrokers all over the USA, and gets paid for it for his advice. I brought him along today. He's out of Chicago, and I brought him as a guest. And one of the things I wanted him to kind of discuss, it would be interesting for everyone, what are some of the common things that everyone runs into they should be looking at as they're going through their financial future? How can they look out for their family? How can they best provide for their family in the future and in retirement? What are some of the things they should look out for? And that's why I brought John. He can bring up some topics.
All right. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you.
D. Simone.
D. Simone.
All right. Is that Italian?
Yes.
Okay, coming from Chicago. Why not the little Sicily, Okay, I got a little
Chicago
Italian.
deep dish pizza.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Right?
Giordano's. All right. Okay, Giordano's. We did give you a little plug out there, right? Oh, man. That was my favorite spot. And we have something in common. We shopped at the same plaza because we used to go to Evergreen Plaza all the time. And you lived right there in Beverly, right?
So I was born in Evergreen Park.
Evergreen Park. Okay, very cool. So, all right. So you guys have at it. First of all, what should someone be aware of regarding life insurance? You said something to me the other day that was just like shocking, and the fact that your credit could be affected by. I'm kind of taking us off record.
A lot of things.
Off script, but
people may not be aware of this. They may not be aware of it, but there's several things that you can do in life, although you don't think much of it at the time. It was a mistake, but it haunts you your entire life. One, a DUI.
Mm-hmm.
A DUI, when you go to apply for a job, it can keep you from getting a job. It stays on your record forever. And the second was, if you have someone that is in the service that you know, or you're in the service
we
yourself,
deal a lot with service people here, so share that one with us. That's pretty big.
okay, you may not want to make a career of it, and I understand that. I didn't either. I was in active duty. But when you get out, make sure you get out with an honorable discharge. Do not get dishonorably discharged, because if you are, it haunts you your entire life. Particularly if there's a veteran in the office that's hiring you, you're tagged. You won't get the job. Do not get out with a dishonorable discharge, and do not get a DUI. It stays with you your whole life. Just
Okay.
advice.
Very important. Things that people just didn't know, We ought to have a show like that, things that you just never thought
Right.
about,
Top 10 things.
Yeah, right. So what should somebody be aware of regarding life insurance, disability insurance, which is what everybody should have? But go ahead.
Well, we'll start on the disability insurance.
Okay.
Most of the public receives their disability insurance through group disability insurance from their employer. And you want to keep in mind that employers do not provide you with group disability insurance to be the savior in the event that you become disabled.
Well, John, first of all, what is disability? Maybe people don't know what disability insurance is. How does it work?
So let's go back to the group insurance. So typically companies will have short-term disability insurance and long-term disability insurance. And it's basically what it sounds like. If you're unable to work, if you're disabled, a lot of companies will provide short-term disability, which usually lasts for 90 or 180 days. And that could be a percentage of your weekly or monthly pay. And then it'll kick into long-term disability insurance. And that typically, if it's provided by an employer, will kick in either 90 or 100 days. So first the short-term disability goes in, and then the long-term disability goes in.
Okay.
And that typically will pay out till you're 65 years old. But the problem is, as I was saying earlier, is employers do not purchase group disability insurance and provide it to a benefit to their employees to be the savior in the event someone becomes disabled. They do that in order to attract and retain good employees. So that's the benefit they're providing, and employers want to make sure that that benefit is not an expensive benefit to them, right? So they will get into we know it is quoting. Let me get a quote on your insurance, right? They'll go, the employer HR department will look through multiple insurance companies and purchase a group disability policy, which is actually a contract between the employer and the employee, the employer and the insurance company, to say, if somebody falls into this situation where they're unable to work, you're going to pay them a percentage of their income, usually about 60% for that short and long-term disability. The problem is most of us listen to the HR department and you hear something like, well, Robert, what kind of disability insurance do you have if in the event that you become disabled that's provided by your employer? And they'll say, well, I get 60% of my pay till I'm 65 years old. Well, the problem is, what is the definition of disability? What will allow you to become disabled? Is there any limitations or exclusions on that? And that's where the premium that your employer is paying, that's where that comes in to be a factor. The more comprehensive that contract is, the more chance that you have of actually collecting on a claim, the more expensive it is. So what insurance so insurance companies will limit some of the most common reasons that people become disabled.
Why am I not surprised?
So mental, nervous, drug, and alcohol abuse or limitations are on virtually every group disability policy out there. So if you become disabled for any mental, nervous, drug, or alcohol reason, you will usually only get paid for 2 years, not until age 65. So to answer your question, Linda, is what should you be aware of? When you talk to your employer and they tell you have disability insurance, ask them to provide you the entire contract. It's usually about 35 pages, and you can read it. And what you would probably want to do in most cases is you can go to your insurance agent or broker and buy a little additional disability insurance on top of what you're provided from your employer. So it's something that you should look at and read through it, understand what you have, because I know many people that have disabilities, they're unable to work, but they're unable to collect on a claim because the contract that was provided to them through their employer was not a comprehensive contract, never got paid out.
Wow. How interesting is that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, I remember that from 10, 20 years ago, where I had to go on disability. I broke my foot or something like that. But anyway, no, it's not broken now. Rob's looking at my foot
Let's hope
like...
not.
I was wondering why it leaned the other way.
But my point is that it was pretty simple. I was working for corporate America. You just collected, no big deal. Is it different now? I mean, it sounds like it's a lot more complicated.
Again, you want to look at what the definitions and limitations are. I'll give you an example. You may read your policy and it may read something like this. You're unable to perform the material and substantial duties of your regular occupation. Or does it say you're unable to perform the material and substantial duties of any occupation? Or, well, what's the difference between the two?
So what about the layman? Can the layman, is it in layman's terms, or do you have to go like get guys like you guys to like, you know, burrow through it and everything to make sure you've got the right policy? Give us some guidelines, some guidance.
Well, I would answer it this way. It's written by attorneys.
So that's the answer. Yeah. Okay, I got it. You better go get your attorney.
A financial advisor, when they're sitting down, and most financial advisors concentrate mostly on people's money, right? Where's it invested? I can do a better job investing it than the guy that you currently have. I can get you a better return. My company's bigger or prettier, whatever they may say. Some of the real important things when dealing with that financial advisor is you want them to look at everything you have. Your disability insurance, your life insurance, any wills or trust that you have set up. If you're a business owner and have a buy-sell agreement, you might want to have them look at those type of things. Mm-hmm. But you really want to make sure that when you're dealing with your financial advisor, they have the ability and skill and the talent behind them to look at everything, not just with blinders on, looking at where your money's invested.
Okay, very important. We're going to take a quick station break right now. So, Variety Talk family, I hope you have your pens, your pencils, and you're absorbing all this, because it's like a new language sometimes, you know, all this new insurance. But what's most important is making sure that, just as Mia was saying, knowledge is power, and making sure that we make the best of what we've got. All right, so with that being said, we're going to take a quick station break. You're watching Variety Talk live from Las Vegas. I'm your host, Lady Linda. We're in with Mr. Robert Fauzi and Mr. Johnny D. Simone. We'll be back in a minute.
Thank you.